Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session, which is a little bit different in terms of the format. Fireside chat, it's going to be more a conversation. I think we've had a really exciting day and a half talking about relationships, network building, CRM systems, tools. But I want us to pause a little bit and maybe go a little bit deeper in these conversations. But first, to start, could you just let me know your name and your job title or your role in your organization, and we can start with you, maybe.
Yes, my name is Victoria Lines. My job title is a lot. So I'm a project manager. I'm also the marketing manager and the IT manager at Diesis in Gothenburg.
Okay.
So a lot.
Joachim Keim, companion. A bit about the same as Victoria. I'm working on projects, working as a consultant, advisor, working a lot with the IT questions, CRM system.
And I'm Marta Campo, and I am an International Relations Officer at Taula del Tercer Sector from Catalunya.
Okay. I'm Aneta. I'm part of the Diesis network, and my job title is Senior Expert, which in a way is great because it means we can do any of those things, and it's a flexible job title. Right. One thing I've been reflecting on since yesterday and also in preparation of today's conversation, which is around approaches to managing relations, but maybe one thing that's stuck in my mind, right? We are social economy organizations, either enabling organizations or SMEs, and we're somehow different, or we hope to be different from the mainstream, right? So when we think about CRM systems and the tools behind them, whether that's Zoho that you've been taking us through in a really deep dive way because it's what you've been using in Companion, but there are others, right, out there, Salesforce, HubSpots, and so on. Often these tools are not built for our organizations and our ecosystem, right? What are they doing? They are tracking sales pipelines. They are there to track revenue, to track leads. There's this kind of idea of individual ownership of contacts. We've been talking a lot about who owns the contacts within our organizations, who owns those relationships, and what kind of ownership do we have of those relationships. And I think that a lot of times these CRM systems are maybe more around a linear process of some kind of deal progression, right? Does that match what we are doing in the social economy sphere? Are we about commercial sales? Social economy is a broad concept, right? Often people ask, what is social economy? What does it fit in? And we can be NGOs, we can be cooperatives, foundations, impact networks. I think the people who are sitting in the room today probably feel like one or more of those roles. And yeah, I think as an opening question, I would be interested to find out whether you see relationships as transactional within your work and within your organizations, maybe as an opening question or an opening thought. It links also to this idea of, where does the value sit within that relationship creation and building? And yeah, any opening thoughts?
I can start. I absolutely think that even social... yeah, do you hear me? Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. I strongly believe that even social economy can make a great use of a CRM system, because what we're doing, we are perhaps more than traditional businesses working with relations. And we need to, in order to be effective and make use of this, what we're doing, we need to track it and use the data that we track. So absolutely, and this traditional CRM systems are linear because they're about transaction, yes, but I think it's very much about how they market themselves. And if you dig into the CRM systems, you need to look for systems that are flexible, where you can put up our way of put in our way of working, setting up the processes and what information you track. So it's more about how you adapt to the system you choose than yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. We have we kind of work in two ways. We're trying to be more of working towards our sales in our CRM, but then we have the big part, which is our entrepreneurs that come to us, where it's definitely not a linear sales, anything like that. It's just they come to us for help, and then we guide them, and then they come back maybe 2 years later. But I think it's important to have it because we need the data, and since a lot of us are like NGOs, like we're an NGO, we don't have the time to keep track if we don't have a system for it. So we had a really bad system before we changed to Soho, which just took up a lot of our time, a lot of energy, and I think it's important to have a system even for us as organizations, but also SMEs, to keep track of your sales pipelines, or if you have relationships with customers or potential customers in a more structured way, because it does save a lot of time and effort that we don't have as organizations.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, and then also from a social perspective, because we are social sector as well, I think this time you save using a CRM, you can spend it like reinforcing these values we were talking about. I mean, it's not only about relationship in a digital dimension. It's about relationship in a personal dimension, because in Catalonia we are organized also from I think it's the same here or in several countries in Europe, but we are organized, the social sector is a multi-level sector. So we have the base associations, then we have the federations, like here represented by Laia, for example, which is second level, specialized, and attending, just one vulnerable collective or group of people, and then there is the third sector. So each of these levels have different objectives and have different relationships with the people they are attending, with the administrations they are working with or lobbying to, and also within all the ecosystem. So if you have time, you can save time with a CRM that has been created for you, from you, and you have co-participated in this construction, then you can spend all your quality time dealing with this other kind of relationship that at the very end feeds these values and gives social economy and gives the social sector this philosophy, this ground to start growing about from the philosophy it's have.
Yeah, I think it's not just about money, right?
No.
So using a CRM or working with contacts or working network building, you kind of, that's what I'm trying to get at, right? It's kind of, in a way, it's not just transactional in our sector, which often these CRMs are built for that, right? So we need to build some extra layers to this that I guess add some values that are important to our sector and our way of work. Maybe it's about trust, collaboration, generating some kind of impact. And I think that's where the challenge comes in. I wonder whether, if you can we just for a second forget about what this workshop or transnational workshop is about, forget about the tools, and just think about the people or the organizations. What is a valuable relationship in your specific context? And it can be something quite different for each of your organizations. It might be quite different for you personally as an individual within your organization, but I would just be interested. What does it mean for you to have a valuable relationship?
Wow.
Okay, I will go. For us, I think a valuable relationship is the possibility to be a reference through all the network, and to be able to that in these multi-level layers, everyone knows who is whom. So this can be capitalized, this can be used in order to support us. It's creating alliances and is trying to, within this trust, knowing how and when can we appeal to each other in order to support each other? Because at the very end, we are serving the same values, and here we return all the time, because our values are our strengths as well. No, it's something that differentiates us from other kind of environments. No, so this relationship, and if there is something, okay, I'm coming back to the tool, no? But if there is something that can ease also the fact that we can work on these relationships in a better way, then it's much welcome, I would say.
Thank you, Marta. Joachim, any thoughts?
I think the way I see it, when I can create value for someone else, that creates value for me. So it's not like just a general idea of what value is for me. It's the value that I create for someone else. So if tools can assist in making sure I can pinpoint what that person's value is, and be able to streamline that, so I can just say, hey, this is what you need in this in your stage, in your business, but it might not be of value for someone else. That creates the value for me, that I can give everyone what they want in an easier way.
And that it's reciprocal, I guess.
Yeah, and in a specific role as an advisor for entrepreneurs that are coming into us with a business idea or a project idea or something, the uppermost goal is that they leave companion with a clear vision on what is the next step I need to take. And if we can do that, then we have created value for that person, and then we also get a valuable relation, because that creates trust, and I think and then back to the tools. It's important to have tools to be able to really do this, because we talked yesterday about if you don't have a memory, you have to restart everyone you meet someone. Diana talked to someone, but I have to restart with the entrepreneur because Diana didn't write it in the tool. So it's valuable. It's really valuable it will enhance the possibilities to create these tight relations if we have the tools to track what we are doing.
And you said something super interesting, a lot of things super interesting yesterday, but one of the things you mentioned was it's not only about establishing relationship, creating relationship, but from keeping them. And relationship changes. That relationship changes through time, no? And maybe we need one thing one day, and then 3 months later we need another thing, and be able to adapt to this relationship, whatever relationship it is. I think it is key. So I would say also that would ease as well this, traveling within the relationships in order to make them stronger.
A lot of the organizations, Diesis network, Taula, Companion, we are kind of networks, right? And we facilitate networking, we facilitate spaces where people can come together. We're conveners, I guess. Do you see a difference between networking and relationship building? Are they complementary? Any reflections on, you touch on it, right? Yeah. Relationship building, it needs time, it needs revisiting. What do you do in your work to encourage effective relationship building and over time? Because often I find in my work, groups of people who've worked fantastically together and create some kind of energy seem to die with the project, right? I don't know if you come across that in your organizations. Like, what do we do actually to encourage longer term relationship building in the work that we do?
I can criticize ourselves because we are very bad at maintaining and keeping contact, which is something that I'm working on with my colleagues. Is how can we just not have one-off meetings, one-off guidance sessions? How can we bring them back and have the relationship? Because it might be, if people come here, it's a networking. But how can we actually build the relationships with them when they come here? It's something that we are working on, and we are not definitely not experts in at the moment. So it's a very in our organization a difficult thing to maintain, because a lot of times we have people coming to us once and we never hear from them again. But we would like to, or I would like to work.
But I think that network is the name of something, but networking is what you do. And when you network, you create relations. If you don't create relations, you will never get a network.
Mm-hmm. So they're connected.
You're absolutely connected. And I think that this is really, you have to have this in always in the mind. Also, what are our values? What are our whys? Why are we here?
Yeah.
And how can we enhance this? And I think most of us at Companion, always when we meet people, we try to tap into what we are doing and see how can this person be benefited of what we do, or how can we benefit from what they are doing, in creating more value further on. But it's relationships. It's we do business, or if we call it business in even in social economy, but we do business with people,
Mm-hmm.
and we can only do that if we have relations.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it also have to do with some kind of it has different dimensions, no? It has to do with empowerment as well, because maybe you can generate value if someone doesn't know what he or she wants, and then you highlight the opportunities, and this strengthens the relationship. I think it has to do with expectations as well, because maybe you are part from a network, but you are super interested in just being part of the network because of one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that is your decision. I mean, I can be this network and I can try to, empower you, engage you, etc. But you as an organization, maybe your expectations are to being here for this specific topic, and this is fine. Needs to be fine as well, no? Because it's this kind of dialogue as well. It's a question of time too, no? If I cannot be talking to them because I have 1,000 things to do, I won't be able to empower. I won't be able to generate trust. I won't be able to generate confidence. Now, for me, are related, but are not quite the same. I think relationship just adds this kind of value, and then it depends on the dynamics and the relations and the moment and the activities and the actions you are doing, no? It's kind of an alive things, and it has a lot to do with individuals as well. And this is something we shouldn't forget, because it's also linked for our values. I mean, we are, I don't know, we're a network, but we are made for individuals that are that agree in the same kind of values and principles and objectives at one point.
And as social economy organizations, are there any relationships that we're actually not managing so well and we could be managing better? I mean, we have a comfort zone, right, of our allies, like you just mentioned. But are there some relationships that we're not managing well, or people who's not in the room, who are we not speaking to? Is that something you reflect on in your work?
I think it's very much up to. It's not on not on an organizational level. I think it's on a personal level, where each person has its comfort zone. If you're not accustomed to talk to businesses, you will not talk to businesses. And I think and that is something I think that social economy in general needs to speak more to
Mainstream
businesses, because it's also we are not silos. We're working in the same. We're on the same planet together, so we need to solve things together, and then we need to talk to each other, create these networks and these relations. So it's more on a personal level, I think.
I mean, you spoke a lot, Joachim, about using Zoho and what's worked, what doesn't work. Maybe a question to you to bring some other voices within managing the network. What would you say are kind of the most frustrating parts in your work in terms of maintaining your network today, or your networks?
Colleagues not filling out the CRM in the correct way is like the biggest hurdle at the moment to because we've only used Zoho for a year, so we're quite new still, but it is a stretch to get people to actually use it in a correct way, and so that's a difficult part in our organization now, because we do have a very big network, but we aren't engaging enough for people to be active in like coming to our events, coming to or joining us for different things because we're not as connected to them as we should be. So that's a big hurdle that we are facing.
From our point of view, and also following this multi-level layered system, for us is super difficult to access the base organization, for example. So it's very tough to get into the community because we are the third level. There are the federations, which we should respect, of course, and they are doing an amazing job. But then there are the 3,500 organizations that are actually working with people, and to arrive there, it's super difficult. And in terms of principles, in terms of what we are defending, in terms of political positioning, political advocacy, activities, capacitation, trainings, etc., we cannot reach them. So maybe having we come back to the tools because we think that I think that they need to be super related because to systematize a model, it is super useful in order to make this model more effective. So we need to use these tools in order to arrive to people that we have no reach now. So this would be I think, maybe my colleagues can also, give me a hand on that. But maybe this could be one of our biggest challenges in terms of networking and how to maintain this networking. We cannot, for us it's super tough to express Taula's value to a base organization that is working in my hometown in Pineda de Mar attending children, for example. And it's like, okay, these people, what are they doing, these people? And this is creating a bad influence for the sector at the very end, because it's like they are with this, the money thing and the financing thing. And it's like, okay, we are doing things, we're changing reality, but what are they doing in the third level? Talking with the government for what? No, this is something that we need to communicate better, I think.
Leads me to think about this concept, of the invisible network problem in a way. And there's a quote I came across that says, the most important relationships are often the least visible in our current systems. I don't know if that's something you would like to reflect on, but it leads me to think about, sometimes there are visible partnerships, right? We put the logos on projects, we know who's been collaborating, but actually, what does it mean, these invisible bridge builders, these informal connectors, the community trust figures who are there, the lady who's worked in the neighborhood, but she's not an official or anything like that. Or maybe this concept also of like dormant allies, people we haven't spoken to for a long time, but maybe they're still there, maybe they've changed jobs, but maybe I can investigate and begin talking to somebody maybe who knew me from a historical past. I don't know. And we talked about this idea of ecosystem conveners, but maybe some reflections also to the audience on this idea of informal connectors, bridge builders. Is that something, if you have a problem, do you have your 5 secret people who you can pick up the phone to or informally chat to, and just they will be there to help, your own kind of informal network that you've built up over the years? That's maybe not tracked officially. I don't know if you see what I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely. There are several people that we're calling, and we had one case yesterday or the other day where for a possible project application where we need to get access to the right person in the right organization, where we use the contact that we already have in that organization to track, is this person or that person the right person to connect. So it's definitely so. But and I also think that we talk about these invisible or unknown contacts, but as I brought forward yesterday, we know a lot of things. Everyone knows everything, but no one knows the whole, because it sits with the person and not with the with the collective memory. And that is something that we need to. If I know something, I need to share it with your colleagues, and maybe not in a meeting, but write it down somewhere. So on that person, this person is changing jobs. this person is doing that responsibilities now. So share the knowledge, because tomorrow that my colleague needs that data or can make use of it, and in return I get something that I can use the next day. So it's it's a culture problem.
Yeah, I agree. And I was about to say, like, who is calling? Is companion calling? Or is Joachim calling, you know? And this is the main thing.
Yeah.
Like, it should be, and this is a mind switch. I mean, it should be companion, taula, no? Who is calling? And then this would be enough. This should be enough. But unfortunately, now relationships, every kind of relationships, are not built on that. Because it's really individual as well. It's super, which I don't know. And here I'm, opening the question. No, what is better? No, because at the very end we are persons, no, and we create these personal, and this is something that adds value as well, no. But when does the personal relationship is more interesting to keep than the organization relationship? Where is the limit? How do we play with that? How do we, I don't know. This is something, yeah.
And in the CRM, are we tracking organizations or the individuals or both?
Both.
And if you're tracking an organization with a contact, does the contact live within the CRM independent of that organization? Because actually, you could also just go to LinkedIn, right? And there you see all the jobs that person has had and how he moves or she. So how do you integrate those two in the system? And who are the connectors in your ecosystem? Who are...
You want names?
Okay, another thing I wanted to ask about, because the Do Impact project, it's coming to its end, unfortunately. I think we've had an amazing consortium-generated transnational activity, but also a lot of local work happening on the ground. And as we've gone through the learning journey, we started off at the beginning talking a lot about open data. And first it sounds, like super positive. Great, there's open data out there. Teaching our sector, what does open data mean? How can you access it on your local level, your regional level, but also an international global level? Because people don't know that there is actually so much open data available. And transferring that idea of open data to CRMs, right? So if I, as an organization, buy a license, I kind of adapt the system to suit my organization, but in a way that CRM system still remains, a closed system within my organization. Have we maybe thought as a sector about CRMs as an open system, where actually, we collaborate and we share that across our organizations, considering we are tackling same topics, projects, and so on? Is that an option? I mean, obviously there's like the data privacy and all that, but if there was a basis of values and rules adhered to in terms of GDPR privacy, could that work, an open system for the sector at European level maybe?
Of course.
Yeah, I think so. I was just thinking, this is an EU project. I'm managing 2 EU projects, and it would be so great if we could share knowledge. It seems a lot of times people are doing kind of the same thing over and over again, and if we could share data to help if someone's doing something similar, and share data to help them with their new project, or spread information wider and not in, as you said, silos, because that's kind of what it is now, because you have all the different EU projects, programs, and they don't share any information between them, which I am missing. So yes, please start.
And also between more. The network building organizations, our networks really overlap, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, are we competitors in a way in this world of network building? This is my network. It's my value, right? That I have as an organization. How much am I willing to share that network amongst? Because we're preaching something, but are we actually acting in that way when it comes to, sharing contacts? which is in a way the capital, no, of social economy enabling organizations.
But it's about the value of the why should we share contacts with all our contacts, or what contacts should we share with Diesis, for instance? Is there a value of that sharing? What can you make with these contacts? So it's but it's not basically it's not closed system. The systems are as closed as we want them to be. They are basically open. We could, if you wanted to have access to some of our contacts, we can easily open up for that.
Yeah.
That's technically easy, but it's more the cultural. How are we working together, and what do we want to create together? That's when, okay, if we want to do this, then we need to share contacts, and in that case, let's do it. But a note on what you said, Victoria, is with the sharing between. I'm pretty happy that there's no total openness between EU projects, because then everyone would see that everything is already been done, and there would be no more EU projects.
Yeah. Very true.
Regarding this, I would say that there are kind of two different dimensions. One is an interoperability, and then connecting CRMs in some specific things that maybe they can be run together, and we can maybe extract reports just with this connection, especially if they are open source CRMs. Is Zoho an open source CRM?
No.
Okay, so trying to work from this perspective, okay? Like if they are open source and we can work with them and we can interoperate them, then the use of this data, wherever they are, because we will decide them and we will pack them and everything will be clear, it can be super useful. And then the other thing is the open space databases created as well. From Taula, we are now creating an open space database, so we don't have to get into your CRM, or our CRMs doesn't need to be interconnected if we don't want to, but you can send us some information in order for us to be able to work with them. Because if we know how social economy in Sweden works, and how social economy in Ireland works, and how social economy in Catalonia works, etc., because we have this information, then we can gather it, we can work with it, and then we can do whatever we want to do, which is political advocacy, trying to justifications for European projects, whatever. But this is some decision that we should also be and here is a good place in order to think about this. No, do we want to share this data? Do we want to share our data? My answer would be yes, because if we pact, if we talk, if we are agree, then we can use this data for our own benefit, and then we can strengthen this relationship from a trust perspective as well.
And the CRM you refer to is Symbiotic.
Yeah, it's Synergia CRM, which is this project, which is the CRM that was developed within this project, which was called Symbiotic. It was a next generation project that went from 2024 until 2025. Synergia CRM was an already existing CRM, but it was a social CRM. I mean, the origins were social already. It is an association from the social economy, and then what we did with Symbiotic, which is this project, is to adapt this already existing CRM to the social sector needs in Catalonia, from a multi-level perspective. So the organization in my hometown did their input, and then FEDAIA also, and not FEDAIA, but other federations did it as well. And then from Taula, we give our feedback as well. So it was built from us, for us. And what we thought was that, okay, if we are not doing this, someone else will be doing this. But it won't be done. It's like the thing that happened with your first CRM, right? That it was super rigid, everything. It wasn't adapted to your needs, right? So we started this co-creation process. And it's now giving a lot of good information. And it's also, since we are all using the same CRM, this interoperability is already packed, and we are 80 organizations from the social sector in Catalonia, but we are within a CRM with more than 300 social economy organizations. And for us in Catalonia, this is super nice, because we have to always defend our role within the social economy as a social sector. So being within already a CRM and a digital network, together with social economy companies, because we have to vindicate our position also in Catalonia. No, this is also a challenge we have. We are not, recognized as social economy sometimes in some places, but being there gives us a lot of the power in order to say, hey, look, we are 80 from these 300 and we are generating this income, we are attending these people, we are networking with this and this and this and this and this social economy company, which is also in the CRM.
And in this kind of CRM, which brings it to a whole different dimension, no? Who oversees the quality aspect of it? Is it one specific organization within that whole network?
It's the organization that created this CRM.
And they will continue to do that work?
Yeah, and this is an alliance that we are keeping in order to, to make it, more trustable.
There's also an example how that relationship building of the alliance actually facilitated this whole CRM project in your case.
Yep.
Are there any questions from the audience at this point? Any thoughts or any contributions, reflections? No? Anything else to add? I was thinking, we've been asking, or we ask it at Diesis Network as well, because, whether organizations like ours need a CRM, well, actually, maybe the question that should be asked is whether we can actually even build trust or scale without one, right? I think the question should move to that. And that would make me happy, but I think we're sometimes still struggling with this, is it worth starting this CRM journey and moving from Excel tables and historical knowledge that sits perhaps just with a few members of the organization?
I say definitely. It is a journey, so it won't take even a year. It will take a long time to establish those processes. But yes, definitely, it has. Even though we are still struggling a bit, it's been easier for us than to use our old system that we had or Excel sheets. It is a lot better and it frees up a lot of our time. So I think even though it is and the cost, you need to know that there's a cost behind using a CRM system. We can't. You can't
ignore that.
Ignore that, no. Which is, but it is worth it to have time to do other things than admin and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. If you haven't started the journey, to do it. But also, as we said before, that if you go to any supplier of a system, if it's CRM or if it's anything else, if you cannot tell them what you're doing, why you want the system, what you want the system to do for you, they will tell you what they think the system should do. And then you get crap.
Yeah.
And we saw that because we were also in this system. We left Jobsdata, or not in Gothenburg, but the other companion offices left Jobsdata before Diesis left that system. That was really, really crap because they didn't know what we were doing. They didn't understand a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But someone high up in companion and other organizations said this is a good system because they told us it's a good system. So really know your organization. Why are you there? What do you want to accomplish? And then you can start a journey and start easy. Start like Tobias started already today, a trial and started to put in contacts. That's the first step, because once you have the data, then when you have data there, you can start doing things with the data. But if you wait for putting in data, you cannot do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're always one step behind.
Yeah. In our case, we organized this closing event for a symbiotic project, and then we had there several organizations, and there were several that were starting the CRM that same year. Some of them had started 5 years ago. Some of them had started before the project, the European project started. And it was good to see all the perspective. They all agree in this cultural transformation. And you also mentioned something that was super interesting yesterday, that it's mandatory. It has to be a mandate from the organization in order to use it. Like every 3 months, it will be a report from the CRM. This is something you need to fulfill because it's a bet from the organization to use the CRM. It is something that is happening to us at Taula as well. That it's a recommendation. Like, just use the CRM. We will see. I'm not using it. I'm using it, I'm 50% using it, but I'm not using it the way I should use it, honestly. No, maybe Alice is, but okay. But this is something that needs to be, established as an organization. This is a bet that we are doing because in 1 year we need to have this and this and this and this and this report. And if we don't have it, then you will not be accomplishing your job correctly. So this is something I really like because sometimes changes need to be a little bit forced, like just please do this because it will be useful as well. And there are a lot of reticences. Barriers. Okay. So I would say so. But this is a cultural transformation, and we need to.
And those take time and perseverance.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm going to go back to my organization and say it's not just me that says this. Just so you know, I have a panel here saying,
and it's being recorded so they can watch it.
Perfect. I'll send it to them.
Well, on that note, I would really like to thank the three of you for I think a vibrant conversation. I think we touched on what we mean by relationships, strategy, current habits, pain points. There are a few, right? Comparing a system like Zoho to one that was co-created by a social sector in a region, which I think is also interesting comparison. And what do we mean by networking intelligence and how can we get better at that, right? Which I think we all can in some way. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.